As much as we don't like it, the people that do us wrong, the bad breaks, the betrayals, the disappointments, they are all a part of God's plan. God is not only ordering your steps, He's ordering the steps of those you need to fulfill your destiny. We know God ordered Jesus' steps, but He also ordered Judas's steps. Without Judas betraying Jesus, we wouldn't have salvation. Without Goliath coming against David, David would have never taken the throne. Without my father going to be with the Lord, something that I didn't like, I would have never stepped up to pastor the church. When things run out in your life, instead of complaining, being bitter, keep the right perspective. It had to run out so you can see the best wine, so you can step up to who you were created to be.
I have never met anybody who became incredibly successful in any area of their life until they had suffered and sweated and sacrificed and kept their focus and fought through tears and trials and tests. And if you have a dream and you commit to it, it will come to pass.
Stop telling your visions to other people because they're not going to see it. Why you think you keep imagining opening a business? Why you keep imagining graduating, getting a better job? Why do you keep imagining buying a house? Why do you keep imagining driving a really nice car? Why do you keep imagining getting rich one day? Why do you keep imagining that? Because God is talking to you. He's showing you something that He has for you. If you decide to be rich today, who gonna stop you? Who? If you decide you want to be rich, all you gotta do is start. Why not? Who gonna stop you? Unless you tell it to the wrong person. Mama, listen to me. I'm going to be rich. Ain't nobody rich in this family. Go in there and sit down somewhere. Get yourself a good job. Oh, mama, you must be right. No, mama could be wrong. Because what you have in your imagination, God didn't show it to your mama. I'm sorry. He showed it to you.
And the only way you can guarantee failure is to be so afraid of failing that you don't try anything at all. Fear of rejection is people are so afraid that other people will criticize them if they set a big goal. Or they're feared that people will criticize them if they set a goal and don't accomplish it, but they don't set it at all. Now here's the key to the fear of criticism. And the key is very simple. Don't tell anybody. Don't tell anybody. Give it to yourself. If you set a goal, write it down quietly, share it with your spouse maybe, but don't tell anybody else. Show people, but don't tell them. That way if you don't accomplish it, it doesn't matter because nobody knew about it. And what happens if you don't accomplish it, you just set the date back and you set the date back until eventually you do. And then everybody will turn around and say how lucky you are. But don't tell other people. Now here's the third reason why people don't set goals. They don't know how. You say, well, that's ridiculous. People don't know how. But here's the biggest mistake that we make. It's something that is so important in life, like goal setting. We think we already know how to do it. And I say to my audiences, I've said this for many years, and I'll say it to you, if you really know how to set goals properly, then you must be very wealthy. You must be a very successful person. Because if you're not a very successful person, if you're not doing extremely well in life, then something's wrong with the way you're setting goals. Because people who become accomplished, skilled goal setters inevitably accomplish an enormous amount in life. The great majority of people haven't been taught, and the great tragedy is that the great majority of people think they already know, so they don't try to learn. And finally, the last reason why people don't set goals is they don't understand the importance of goal setting. If you were raised in a family and you were never told at a young age how important, how vital, how indispensable goal setting is to your success, then you would have grown up without even understanding that goal setting was important. If you were raised in a family where people didn't talk about goals around the family dinner table, where the people you went to school with didn't have goals, when you went up to school and the teachers didn't have goals, you could get out of school, as I did, travel, be an adult, move around the world, and never know how important goal setting is. And you know that 97% of the population has no goals? 97% of people do not have written goals. They are just drifting. It's almost like driving down the road of life with your hands off the wheel and hoping that you don't go in the ditch, and yet knowing that it's inevitable. Most people's lives are just a series of haphazard and random events because they don't have goals.
Here's why we don't really reach into the future. We're trapped either by regret of the past for the routine of the present. So busy with the routine of the present, we don't give much thought to designing the future. Or trapped by the past with regrets of past losses and past failures and past mistakes. And we relive it over and over again, not to the benefit of changing it for the future, but just because, we feel that our lives have been less than favorable simply because of all the things that's happened to us in the past. But here's the real key, is to spend some time, and usually we don't do it until someone comes by and offers the suggestion. That's why meeting the right person at the right time, attending the right class, listening to the right sermon, having a conversation with the right person sometimes can totally change the direction of your life. And you're never the same after that personal contact, or sitting in that class, or reading that book, or coming face to face with someone who says, hey, our lives are not that good. What could we do to change? And that very conversation starts this whole process. Wow, I'm arrived at a fairly poor place. How could I change all of that for the future? And that is all possible. Here's the next key. Make sure that the greatest pull on you is the pull of the future. Not the pull of the past that keeps taking you back. Not the pull of gravity, like the present, that just keeps you sort of stuck where you are. But we want to make sure that the greatest influence and pull on us is the pull of the future. If you have powerful goals well designed, and plenty of them, to stir your imagination, here's what they will do. Goals become like a magnet. And the bigger they are and the stronger they are and the longer the list and the more things you'd like to acquire during the course of your lifetime, the stronger they pull. And here's the other advantage in setting goals, so that these goals begin to pull you in that forward future direction. They pull you through all kinds of downtime, all kinds of nighttime experiences, all kinds of winters. You can much more easily survive the next crisis, the next winter of your life, if you have well-set goals, finely tuned, places you want to go, things you want to do, people you want to meet, skills you want to develop, fortune you want to make, benevolence you want to engage in. If all of that becomes powerful and clear, and you're on your way, I promise you, no matter what happens, those goals will pull you through. You won't be lost in the middle because you'll be able to see beyond.
The winter of a divorce, the winter of a death in the family, the winter of a tragedy, some things we can't understand. But here's what we do know. It's possible for us to get through the winter. Here's what's exciting about the passing of time. It takes you through whatever you're experiencing at the moment. That's what time will do, take you through the winter. Now, how do you handle the winters? Make this little note. You can get better, and you can get stronger, and you can get wiser. There's no winter that you can't overcome. There's no winter that you can't figure out how to survive. Of figuring out a way to get through it. Hang on. Make this note. Winters don't last forever. Yes, the tyranny of communism lasted for 75 years, but finally that long winter was past. So become wiser, become stronger, become better to handle the winters that are going to come in your life. With self-esteem bursting out all over, with the skills you're going to develop, you're going to be able to handle whatever comes your way. I promise you that. Sometimes the winter seems long. The night seems like it'll never pass, but sure enough, eventually, the night has to give way to the day. Winter has to give way to the spring. The difficult time has to give way to opportunity. The recession has to give way, finally, to the progression, to the expansion. The long night is past, and opportunity is here. Spring always comes. Just hang in there when the night is long. Hang in there when it's dark. Hang in there when you can't figure it out. And your spring will surely come. Here's a good phrase to note. Negative is normal. It's not successful, but it's normal. It's part of life. And here's the next key, in my opinion. You must learn to handle the negative. Don't ignore it, handle it. You don't have to live in it. You don't have to dwell on it. But you do have to handle it, my opinion. I know some people teach, just turn your head real quick and say, there's no weeds, there's no weeds, there's no weeds. They'll take your garden. So you've got to handle the negative. Here's what part of it is. It's called the great war between good and evil. The minute you were born, you got involved in the war between good and evil, between darkness and light, between negative and positive, between evil and good, between tyranny and democracy, between weeds and human activity. I mean, the war is on. In the absence of light, guess what's automatic? Darkness. If good does not arouse itself and become active, guess what moves in? Evil. It's a war. A mental war, a physical war, a financial war, between enterprise and ease, between accomplishment and failure. It's a war. One of the words that destroys everything is called neglect. Neglect. And I found this out. A week of neglect could cost you a year of repair. It isn't worth it. Now, there's two kinds of people to learn from. One is failures. It's too bad failures don't give seminars, right? That would be valuable. Bring your notebook, have them tell you how they lost it all and threw it all away, threw their health away and threw their friendships away and things didn't work out well. That would be valuable. But now then, we must also learn from positive people that have done well. They've got the health, and so we asked them, how did you become so healthy? They've got the skills, so we asked them, how did you become this skillful? They've got the income, so we asked them, how did you get here in such a short period of time? So now, here's what's important in personal development. In learning from other people, we learn, number one, by observation. We learn what we see, we watch people that are successful in what they do. In sports, we watch their disciplines. In business, we watch their disciplines. By observation, what we can see. Second, we learn by what we hear. I've got some of my lectures on cassette tape, so you can take them with you wherever and learn by listening.
Cách em đi qua cái khoảng lãng mạn như thi ca khiến anh chẳng nhớ được gì cả, chỉ chút vừa vã anh ghi và anh không biết được là đôi mình còn gần bên nhau bao lâu nữa. Nhiều lúc anh nghĩ hay thôi mình có lẽ là đừng yêu nhau nữa, vì cãi vã nhiều quá anh mệt lắm, chia tay nhiều quá anh mệt lắm, tất cả ở em đều mệt lắm. Nhưng rồi thời gian cũng hết năm, em thì vẫn ở đó, vẫn nắm chặt tay, vẫn kể môi sát môi. Anh thì vẫn như vậy, vẫn nghệ sĩ nghèo chỉ có lời hát thôi. Em à, người ta mất nhau trong 2 tuần và ta xa nhau cũng 2 lần. Anh không có phải thằng khờ, cũng biết trái tim đâu đó đã phai dần. Phải cần một sự liều lĩnh để thấy mình còn luyến thương nữa không. Mình sống với nhau như vợ chồng, những tình thế này thì chưa giống. Bài nhạc anh viết vẫn chưa xong, liệu rằng ngày đó có cả buồn mà cất lời không lên, người đi mất mà nhất thời không quên. Lòng u tối dù đất trời không đêm, kể từ khi sống lấy lất đời không em. Đầu quay cuồng trong hơi men, đưa chân về nơi quen, dấu vết chẳng hề phai. Và rồi chợt nhận ra và vô tình khơi thêm ký ức bung lơi êm mà đã từng kể vai và ngồi. Chẳng cần thiết phải viết nên sử sách mà lại phải nếm trải chuyện não nề. Chẳng thể biết thời tiết đẹp như tranh, thực ra là đằng xa có một cơn bão về. Chẳng cần mơ hay chờ đến vạn kiếp để ta được cạn tiếp cho hết chén dao bôi. Rồi chẳng thể nỡ để vỡ 10 nhân duyên, nên ta chỉ khấn nguyện trọn đời này chung lối thôi. Những kẻ si mê tới điên thường mơ tưởng cái thiên đường yêu đương được tô điểm, nhưng hận tạo hóa tuyệt nhiên có ai đành bên em thành anh đài. Tình ta như hồ điệp vẫn mãi giữ riêng đây về giây phút khắc sâu. Chẳng nghĩ yêu em mà từng chút mắc câu, sầu hôn hút khuất sau vẻ nét bút chắc đau. Hạnh phúc đâu cần chỉ cho phút bắt đầu, nhớ đến cái lúc còn gió sương vơi đầy. Nhớ hình bóng người nào đó vương nơi này, trong vài khoảnh khắc mong có được đôi tay ấy cố lau đi bờ mi khi nào thường hơi cay. Xa một người và bước qua cuộc đời không phải xa đi vĩnh viễn mà chúng ta chỉ tạm giữ. Khi say anh thường hay nhắc về em, mong khỏa lấp những u tối khoảnh khắc về đêm, nghe lại bài ca ngày xưa cũ ta hát về nhau, nhớ những giấc mơ ta từng ước to tát về sau. Và đó là khi mà anh dần lụy là không làm chủ chính mình, thấy không gian trở nên tồi tệ, mọi thứ bao phủ chính mình. Em đâu còn như điều anh mơ, anh cũng tự nhủ chính mình. Nhưng mà thôi em, nào ai giỏi mà đủ tính tình, chẳng thể vươn tới được cảnh cao dù anh có nhã ý trèo. Trong cơn say mọi thứ cuồng quay, anh trở thành gã chí phèo. Yêu chân thành là không thay lòng dù em có như thị nở. Ý anh là em như cô Tấm, nhìn em như thị nở. Đêm vắng nàng ngón tay xám vàng vì đốt cả bao thuốc lá. Căn phòng chung khi xưa nồng ấm, bây giờ sao bút giá. Một thói xấu mà anh đã quen khi em không ở bên lâu. Anh thường ngồi trong một góc tối nhậu suốt cả đêm thâu. Em mang con tim anh đi đâu, khiến anh mù quáng vẫn cố sáng mỗi khi đau. Em mang con tim anh đi đâu, điều gì trong váng để xứng đáng ướt mi nhau. Em mang con tim anh đi đâu, khiến anh mù.
Phone call, it was the best phone call you could possibly make. If you wrote a letter, it wasn't a casual letter, it was your best letter. At the end of those kind of days, when you feel good about yourself, self-confidence starts to rise. You know that if you can have this kind of a good day, you can have another one the next day, and those days become the weeks become the months, and the month becomes a powerful year. Self-confidence comes from the lack of neglect. If you will not neglect to do the small daily disciplines, that's where self-confidence comes from.